Hello, 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 and welcome to the Journey with Janey podcast. I am happy to announce that we're on episode 25. Way back in January when I started this, I was not really sure whether I would keep going, but I've realized how much I enjoy talking to you, beautiful listeners and viewers over on YouTube. So today I'm back in the house, and the reason for that is nature has taken a sprouting spree. Try saying that with your teeth in. And obviously the grass is growing at this time of year, and farmers are all full on silage, cutting grass. There's lots of pollen floating around. So to any other fellow hay fever sufferers, just a big shout out that we actually do make it through the summer. But I do feel your pain. There's nothing worse than sneezing, itchy, sore, red eyes. Anyway, that isn't why we're here. Journey with Janey podcast is all about grief and rediscovery. So today I thought I'd be a bit more structured. I'm going to pose some questions to you. I am currently studying with David Kessler, who is based in America and is one of the renowned grief gurus out in America. Worked alongside some very, very famous people with regards to grief. And as when I chose my mentor, Kim Calvert, in Dynamite Lifestyle, it is finding that person that you resonate with and the person who has the skills that you want to aspire to be. So that is where I found David Kessler. He has worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who is one of the main, I want to say diagrams, processes that people use within the grief bereavement circles. So when his grief educator program came up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's me. Get me on there, learn from the best, and be able to share with you the skills and wisdom that he has shared with us over our 12-week grief educator program. So I thought today, I kind of went off on a tangent last week talking about my services. I thought I would pose some questions, and as much of these, when I read them out, they are all going to state about death and the loss of someone. But just remember that we can tweak those so that can be sort of loss of a pet, loss of a job, loss of a relationship, loss of your identity, loss of direction. And this all kind of links in with the work that I do with Kim on mindset. So at Journey with Janey, this is what I'm trying to link the two together, because David talks a lot about mindset and thinking, and that is the scientific process of the mind that Kim teaches us on a weekly basis. So you have the best of both worlds, and I'm hoping while I've been babbling on, you've managed to grab yourself a pen and a bit of paper. You may be unable to do so. So what I'm going to say is, which is also one of the things we've learned over the past 12 weeks, is it's good to be present. It's good to be a powerful listener. And just take time wherever you are, whatever you're doing, to actually listen to the questions and think about what the questions mean to you. And then maybe re-listen, write the questions down, and you don't have to answer them straight away, but just to give you some guidance as to where you can start to actually think about where you are and where your journey of growth might take you. So I'm going to start. I'm actually going to read them because obviously it was a new kind of thing for me as well. So I've actually done these questions for me and where I'm at the minute as well. So, and I found them really, really useful. And it does bring up different things that you may not have thought of. So it definitely helped me to do that as well. So David calls them the 7 questions of meaning. And I think just to give a bit of context to that is we have to find meaning in what happens to us at each point in our lives. It's not just about death and grief. Finding meaning in in everything that we do is obviously a good thing. So, question 1. What could death not touch? What could death not touch? Remember, you could switch that and say, what could the loss of my identity not touch? Or what could the loss of my pet dog not touch? Number 2, a part of us died with them, but what part of them lives in us? How can we grow that part? I'll read it again. A part of us died with them, but what part of them lives in us? How can we grow that part? So for me, it's kind of looking at, yes, Jonathan died, and we all know that. Part of me did die with Jonathan because I'm no longer a couple, no longer have my soulmate. What part of them lives in us? I have to say, Jonathan was probably the most unselfish person you would meet and very loving and hardworking. And I would like to think that lives on with me and also his legacy, which is why I'm still here on the farm, living on with me there. And the final part of that question, how can we grow that part? So I suppose, yeah, here I am living on the farm and almost being a caretaker for his legacy. So that is how that part is growing within us. My love and unselfishness is the fact that I'm here talking to you guys and helping people in the process of grief and rediscovery so that they can flip the page and start a new chapter. So that's how I would view that one. So number 3, what belief, value, or action steps did they have or do that can help in my grief and growth? What belief, value, or action steps did they have or do that can help me in my grief and growth? So I suppose I kind of answered, give you a bit of a clue to that one after question 2. Question 4. How can I recognize my survival strength? How can I recognize my survival strength? I don't want to give too many kind of analogies or what I've done, because then you'll all go, and that kind of puts a thought into your head. So I'll just leave you with that one. Question 5. What do I still have control over? What do I still have control over? Question 6. What would my future self and my loved one who died, remember this can be or when my pet died, or when the relationship gave up, or when my job was made redundant, or whatever, want to see looking back on my life? So this links into personal development as well, which is the mentorship with Dynamite Lifestyle, in always thinking from where you want to be. So what would my future self and my loved one who died want to see looking back on my life? So where do you see yourself, and where would the person who died see you when they look back on your life? Would they be happy with what you created in your life? And the final question, what meaning can I find in this that can help to heal me? I think you all know the answer that I would have put to that one. So those are your 7 questions of meaning. That's a little bit of homework for this week. We'll start to get a bit more interactive and give you things to do rather than just me babbling on. Obviously, if you're driving, please don't try to write your answers to these questions, but just have a think about what I'm actually, the questions that I'm posing, and then re-listen and write them down. And I'm not saying you have to do it. It's entirely up to you, and it's for you to do whatever you want with. But I did find it very useful for myself, so hence why I'm sharing it with you today. So that is your lesson for today. And I've totally lost my train of thought now. I do apologise. I only wrote the questions down, so I'm not, that was it. I've been quite busy this week with meetings and networking, getting me out there and sharing all things Journey with Janey. And one of the things we did discuss in the Grief Educator training was signs. What are signs a thing? Now, when this was brought up, I was like, oh, we're going to get told that signs aren't a thing. Signs are whatever you want them to be. And I can share with you all, I see lots of hearts wherever I go, which probably links back to one of the questions when I said about Jonathan being such a loving person. Heart-shaped clouds, heart-shaped flowers, heart-shaped stones, and I actually picked up a lot of heart-shaped shells in Bermuda when I was on holiday. Feathers are also a thing. Butterflies, feathers, butterflies and bees, which are all part of my brand. Now, don't ask me why, but I do see all of those 3 things on a regular basis. So yes, signs are a thing. People find solace in signs. Some people relate to the robins that fly in and sit and watch through your kitchen window. That kind of thing. So I was like, ooh, yeah. Everybody has their own thoughts on signs and whether they believe in them, whether they see them. And I think it can be whatever you want it to be, but just be aware that actually signs are there. And I have to share, yesterday I called to have a chat with one of the Dynamite Lifestyle team. I was parked up outside their house. And when I came out, there was a feather on my car. Now that wouldn't be unusual because there is swans and things floating around near the house. Floating around, not floating around. Swimming around in the pond near the house. What was more unusual was the fact that the feather was actually stuck in, like as if somebody had pushed it into the bonnet, in the groove. And I drove all the way home from Newcastle, which is nearly, well, just under an hour's drive. And some of you know I'm not a very slow driver. And that feather was still in the car, and it's probably still in the car outside the house. So yes, I just thought I would bring that into the conversation that yes, signs can be whatever you want them to be. And if it helps you to smile, so be it. I love them. And it also gives me the belief that I have a connection and the faith that there is something there. And this is by no means a religious kind of faith, connection, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going into a huge sermon, but it is just, for me, the faith and actual understanding that there may be something, and it makes me feel better. So I am hoping you have enjoyed today. I've shared some quite serious questions with you, and just be or do with it what you like. But I would also like your comments or feedback, if anybody can, as to whether this is helpful, whether you want me to continue doing things like this, or whether you prefer the woohoo, here I am, I'm talking about this, this, and this, and flipping from one thing to another on the weekly basis on the podcast. Thank you all for joining me on the Journey with Janey podcast. Always remember, there is something within you that knows no limits. It's time to believe in you. Click the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. I love reading your reviews and comments, so right away. So, if you're ready to take those small steps to transform your true self, let's do life together.